Hello and welcome to today's edition of the Danielle Daily Show. I am Danielle Watson. I am so glad to have you guys here with me today. It has been an interesting and exciting morning. Everything is a little bit discombobulated. I've just realized as I hit the live button that I didn't plug in my microphone, which doesn't mean you can't hear me. You can hear me through my phone. But the sound is so much better when I use this little microphone. So I'm going to take just 1 second to plug it in so that the sound will be optimal. All right, there we go. Hopefully the sound is much better. I just saw some thumbs up going across the screen. Awesome. I'm not sure who that was. The heads are so small. It looks like Julio's here. Awesome. Thank you so much for joining me. And thank you, Julio, for messaging me this morning. I do need to check on the settings to see if there's something I'm doing that's keeping people who want to watch the show live from receiving the notifications. It's on my to-do list. It's been such a very interesting morning here. It's funny, we sometimes make plans for how we're going to spend our day or our week, and then other things come up and we make changes, and then we end up making changes to that. So I will have today's note to self for you later in the broadcast. Today we are talking about hindsight, and I thought I was being a little bit cheeky with what is the label? What is the word I'm looking for? I'm completely losing my words right now. With the heading, basically, or the subject line of today's show, hindsight. It was something I was talking about with somebody this morning. And I don't know if you saw my post earlier today, but I actually got to meet one of the Danielle Daily Show viewers this morning. She happened to be in town, Elena, and she had her baby girl Lacey with her. And she's been watching the show since before Lacey was even born. And she happened to be in town, and she messaged me and knew that I was super busy and had all kinds of things that I'm always doing, but wanted to know if I would get together with her for coffee. And of course, please know that if you're ever in Northern Virginia and it's possible, I would absolutely love to meet you. If you are a viewer of the Danielle Daily Show, I think it would be so cool for us to actually meet face to face. I can't always travel as far as I'd like, but if you can make it so that we can be in proximity to one another, I would love to make that happen. So please do not hesitate to reach out to me if you happen to be in the Northern Virginia area. A lot of people come through the Washington, D.C. area, and it's I won't say it's a short drive because the traffic around here is awful, but it's doable for us to try to make it happen. So I just wanted you to know that. So this morning I was having coffee and bagels with Elena and Lacey, and she was asking me some things and I was answering her, and I was talking about how I had made a decision years and years ago, like almost 20 years ago now, that had completely changed the trajectory of my life, and a series of things had happened as a result of that. And it wasn't until I was way into the future, like 4 or 5 years from that decision, that I realized how that decision had impacted me. And so it was only in hindsight that I recognized how significant that decision was. And I think there are so many moments like that. And it's funny because I didn't think that much of the conversation, but after I was done, I came home and I got changed. I was going to go to a lunchtime yoga class, and I drove all the way to the yoga studio. I parked my car and I sat there and I thought, I don't actually want to go do yoga right now. And I thought, that's really strange because I enjoy doing yoga. I've been doing a lot of it lately. And just something in my gut said, don't go in there. And I have no idea why, but I've become attuned to what my inner voice is telling me. And so I decided I was going to back my car out of the parking space and go back home. And honestly, I have no idea why I received the guidance not to go to that class. There could be millions of reasons. And the interesting thing is most of the time we never actually know why our gut is speaking to us in that way. But sometimes in hindsight, we can look back on something small like that, something small like not attending a class that we intended to go to, and realize that it was a turning point moment in our life. It looks like Elena is here joining us live. Awesome. So great to see you here. So, and thank you whoever also sent more thumbs up across the screen. I love those. I love the hearts. I love the thumbs ups. Thank you. I see them and I try so hard not to get distracted because they're very exciting to me. So yeah, so that thing that happens when we get away, like down the line time-wise, from something that we decided to do. And it doesn't always seem like a significant thing that we decided to do, but we get down the line and we recognize, oh my gosh, this whole series of things happened. And so as I was driving home, sort of thinking to myself, I wonder why I'm not supposed to be at that yoga class right now. I got to thinking about other things that have happened where I didn't know until I was looking at it in hindsight what the impact of that was. And I got to thinking about this show. And I remember when I first decided I was going to do the show, I just thought, I'm going to do this for 30 days and see what happens. And as a result of that decision way back, I got to meet Elena and Lacey today. And that, I could have never ever thought that me starting this show would result in me meeting two wonderful people who, like, there's no way I could have figured out the connection of those things. And there's no telling what impact that meeting is going to have. I feel like that's probably going to be a longer term relationship. We're going to stay connected. We're going to know each other. I'm going to get to watch Lacey grow up, and like, no one knows what the impact of that's going to be, but it was all based on this little tiny decision that I made to start a show. And so this whole series of events happened that who knows what the ultimate impact of that will be. It looks like Nelson is here. Hello, so good to see you, Nelson. That man has been working so hard lately, and Nelson, I really appreciate you taking a few minutes to watch my show, and I hope that I will get to see you sometime soon as well. Thank you for the thumbs ups. Awesome. So tell me, are there things that in hindsight you recognize were something that made a big impact on your life, or that changed the trajectory of something, or maybe at the moment didn't seem like it was all that significant, but something happened because of it that you never could have anticipated? I feel like we all have these sorts of experiences, but we don't know, how it's going to make a difference for us until later. And so earlier today, after I got home and had decided not to go to yoga class for goodness knows what reason, I decided I was going to make a phone call. I needed to schedule an appointment. And I got to talk to the nicest lady on the phone, and it was so funny because she was about to give birth in the next couple of weeks, and so I was telling her that I just spent the morning with my friend Elena and her little tiny baby, Lacey, and we just had the most wonderful conversation, and I felt so happy when I hung up the phone, and I could tell that she felt so happy too, because even though she was just doing her job of answering the phone and scheduling appointments, and I was just making a dentist appointment, who enjoys doing that, we had both had this wonderful interaction. And so that's one of those things. It's not a big significant thing, because I didn't go to yoga, I got to have this nice conversation with this lady, but it did contribute to my day, and it did contribute to her day, and both of us leaving that conversation feeling so good about the world and about other people in the world, I think has a ripple effect. I think that does something out in the greater world, and I think that is something important for us to recognize, that when you get guidance from your gut that tells you do something or don't do something, to really listen to that, even if you don't really know why. And then maybe at some point in the future you will know why that was, but maybe you won't. And I can't help but think about what's going on in our world right now. Like I've said, I live near the nation's capital. It's all politics all the time around here. And I know that there are many people who are incensed about what's going on politically right now. And so yesterday I posted that, however you feel about the election and the inauguration and where our country is going, let's focus on doing nice things for one another and spending time with people we care about and doing random acts of kindness and telling people when we see that they're wearing something we like, telling them they look wonderful in it, and doing things for strangers and cooking food with people we care about, and just really focusing on doing the things we can do that make us feel good and that make other people feel good. I feel like All these things are going on around us. We don't really know what the ultimate outcome of them will be, but we do have some control over how we act. And it may not seem important to spend time with people you love today, or to cook a nice meal for somebody, or to give somebody a compliment because you like their hat. It may not seem like that is important, but just think if you did that every day for the next 6 months. Just imagine how many people's lives you would impact. Imagine how good you would feel. And just think, if each of us were doing that, would it really matter what is going on in the larger political sphere? Would it? If we're all just doing things that make us feel good and doing things that make other people feel good, I feel like that whole situation would just be drained of its power, and we would just take all the power back to make ourselves and other people feel good. Nelson says, I love random acts of kindness. So do I. Random acts of kindness are one of my favorite things. They're definitely something I do when I feel like I need to buoy myself up inside, when I start to feel like life is getting me down. I get sneaky and I find a random act of kindness that I can do because it makes me feel good. So I would love, even after the broadcast, if you would share with me a story about a time when you did something or you made a decision that later down the line, in hindsight, you recognized, oh my gosh, that made a big impact on me. Or if you've ever been like me, where you've pulled in somewhere that you intended to go, and then suddenly you just realized that was not where you were supposed to be, and you just turned right around. I mean, I didn't even get out of my car. I literally pulled into the parking spot and just felt bodily that I wasn't supposed to go in there. And so I didn't. And who knows why? And maybe I'll know why later. I have one more story about when this has happened to me. So last year, we had a huge snowstorm here in Northern Virginia. And I got up the morning after the storm was over, and I had this overwhelming feeling that I was supposed to put on all my makeup and do my hair. And I was like, I can't even get out of my house. Like, it's up to the doorknob with snow, and my car is covered all the way up to the roof on one side. I'm not going to be able to go anywhere today, and I live by myself. Why would I feel like I need to do all my hair and makeup? Well, it's funny because I decided to take a picture that day, and I put it on Facebook, and I said, I'm all made up with nowhere to go, and I'm going to go start trying to dig myself out. So I did. I started trying to dig myself out, and I wasn't making much progress with it because I'm a very small woman with not a whole lot of upper body strength, and there was a lot of snow. Well, two gentlemen who were doing some repairs at the house next to me saw me struggling, and according to everybody on Facebook, they think that because I looked so nice, because I clearly looked like I was not the sort of person who should be shoveling that much snow on her own, these two gentlemen dug my car out for me. And so it's funny to look back and wonder, if I hadn't been all made up, would they have offered their help? Wouldn't they? I don't know. But everybody on Facebook seemed to think that because I'd taken the time to dress up and to look nice, it probably really pushed a little button in their hearts of pity and resulted in me having my car dug out, which was awesome and would have taken me a couple of days on my own. So that's another really great story of how, in hindsight, that impulse I had to fix myself up, it paid off for me. So Elena says, Lacey and I are here together watching, still waiting to see those stars, to see where life leads. One act of kindness a day can slowly change the world. You are absolutely right. One act of kindness a day can slowly change the world. Even if only like half of us were doing an act of kindness today and we were doing it for the other half of people, I think we could still absolutely change the world. And that waiting for how those dots or stars align it's exciting when they do show up. So don't stop looking for it. You just never know. Thank you for the hearts. Thank you for the love. Okay, so let me give you guys today's note to self so you can get on with your day. It looks like Julio the Story says, more of the story, dress up. Yes, put your red lipstick and pearls on, Julio, if you want somebody to dig your car out for you. Yeah, moral of the story is really follow those promptings inside, because you don't know where they're going to lead you. So when you have an impulse to do something or not do something, even if it doesn't make sense, just follow it. As long as it doesn't mean you're going to hurt yourself or hurt somebody else, like don't follow the impulse to jump off a bridge. Don't do that. But but anything else where it's not going to result in pain to you or harm to somebody else, follow those impulses, because it's something that is taking you somewhere or maybe taking you away from somewhere. And it's important. And like I said, you may never know why, but it's really cool when you do find out why. All right, so here is today's note to self. We ready to write it down? Okay, here it is. It says, Dear self, many of life's most significant moments are only visible in hindsight. And for me, that is so much the truth. Let me read it again. It says, Dear self, many of life's most significant moments are only visible in hindsight. And then I always sign it, love me. Elena says, follow your heart. Yes, follow your heart. That's so much better than listen to your gut, right? The listen to your gut. I think a lot of people understand that, but I like the idea of follow your heart better. Thank you for all the thumbs ups, you guys. Let me read you the note to self one more time, then you can get on with your day. I really appreciate you joining me here today. I really appreciate each of you who has bought my book, and double super extra appreciate with whipped cream and a cherry on top those of you who have left me a review. I know the book is intended to be read over a year, but I'm finding that a lot of people are reporting that they're like speed reading the whole thing because they just are like shoveling it down like an ice cream sundae that tastes really good, and then going back and starting over and doing the day-to-day. So if you've been waiting to give me a review because you're like, I've got like 11 and a half months left of this before I'm going to be done with it, go ahead and speed read it. Just, binge. It's like binge watching on Netflix or something. Just binge on it and then go back. That way you'll be able to write the review. And sincerely, I appreciate that. I'm really working towards getting 10 of those up there before the end of the month, and I would love it if you would help me with that. One more time with the note to self. It says, Dear self, many of life's most significant moments are only visible in hindsight. So keep that in mind when you get an impulse from inside you to do something or not do something. When something doesn't go your way, remember that it just might be that cheeky universe steering you in a different direction, and just try to relax and go with the flow. All right, if you guys need me, you know how to get me. I love and appreciate each and every one of you. We will be back here tomorrow at the same time for the last show of the week. And please reach out to me anytime. If you're going to be in town, I'd love to hear it. And until then, this has been the Danielle Daily Show with Danielle Watson. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Mwah! Love you. Bye.